obviously in the second half, it seemed like everybody in the gym knew that Dalton Connect was going to shoot the next shot, with the exception of a few people. The problem was that those few people were on our team.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Price Check, your sports podcast brought to you by the In the Zone Network, where we go city to city, state to state, worldwide. Of course, we got some NBA Cup action to catch up on. We got some people losing jobs in the NFL, and of course, Week 12 to look ahead to. But not a lot of time to do it, so let's get into it. NBA Cup action took place again last night. A lot of good action going on. Of course, we had an exciting Nets-Hornets game. A couple blowouts mixed in there as well. Mavericks got a blowout on the Pelicans. But biggest games to note, Cavaliers go into Boston. Of course, they went to that game 15-0, first team to start 15-0 since the 2015-2016 Golden State Warriors. And then, of course, were handed their first loss last night, 120-117 by the defending champion Boston Celtics. 30-point game from Jason Tatum. You had big clutch shots from Derek White. Had guys like Drew Holiday with good contributions. Jaylen Brown with some clutch buckets down the stretch. Cavaliers were, looked like this might end up being a blowout early on, but of course they fought their way back into that game. Donovan Mitchell had a hell of a game. Evan Mobley showed some things offensively last night that I was really excited to see. But all in all, Cavs take their first loss, drop to 15-1, and a big win for the Celtics as far as being able to keep their hopes for the next round of the in-season tournament or NBA Cup alive. So, big win for the Celtics at home last night. It was also a big win for the Los Angeles Lakers last night behind a crazy performance from rookie Dalton Connect. Dalton Connect puts up 37 points on 9 of 12 shooting from the three-point line last night. Crazy high. He got 5 straight three-pointers, I believe, in the third quarter. He's getting great looks from what J.J. Redick is calling up. He also was just taking some heat check shots at some different points in that one. But huge coming out party for Dalton Connect. A guy that I think should and probably will end up being Rookie of the Year if he keeps this pace up. But 37 for him as the Lakers win 124-118 against the Jazz. They now kind of take a pretty, decent lead in the West Group B for the NBA Cup, being the only team now without a loss so far in that group. So they're able to take advantage of an Oklahoma City loss last night. Oklahoma City also in West Group B. They lose to the Spurs without Victor Wembanyama. Not sure how that one really happened, but Shai Gilgeous-Alexander puts up 32 points. Still not enough for Oklahoma City to overcome the Spurs in San Antonio. So, of course, we'll see how some of the NBA Cup action continues to play out. We also got, of course, an NBA bet of the day to get to later. But also, before we change gears to the NFL, some trouble in Philadelphia. Who could have guessed, right? The Philadelphia 76ers have now started the season 2-11. Had a players-only meeting the other day that allegedly was started by Kyle Lowry. Injuries, of course, a story of the season for them, like we could have predicted. They have yet to have Paul George, Tyrese Maxey, and Joel Embiid all on the court at the same time. We know Joel Embiid is not playing the second night of back-to-backs at this point. Apparently, there was also some calling out of Joel Embiid for his tardiness to team events, things like that, from Tyrese Maxey. Now, of course, as it's been reported, he and Tyrese Maxey have a good enough relationship for this to not be teammate drama, but I still feel like this is drama nonetheless. 13 games into the season, you're already having a players-only meeting. To put this in perspective, Lakers, I think, started like 0-6. They started like 2-10 a couple years back, and they had, of course, the Russell Westbrook trade that were able to get them kind of back over the hump the second half of the season. But that time it was full-blown panic mode for the Lakers team, right? Everybody in the media was talking about it. 76ers need that same panic mode right now. You start a season 2-11 out of an 82-game season. Even if you go, let's say, 40-29 over the back end of the last 69 games, that still is really only going to get you a guaranteed play-in spot. It's not going to be something that puts you right back in the thick of it with the rest of the upper echelon teams in the conference. And a 40-29 pace over 69 games is pretty significant. So even if they don't get there, you're starting to look at this is starting to look like the season from hell for Philly. I think everybody, again, could have predicted this, not necessarily predicted this start, but could have predicted that injuries would be a problem for them. I think the question we have to also start asking ourselves right now is, given everything that we've seen so far just in this short 13-game start to the season, you've already seen Joel Embiid pushing, shoving reporters apparently based on the articles that were written about him and his family. They're already calling him out about being late to team events. He's going back and forth with the media and the fans about what he's given to the city. Is it time for Joel Embiid to go elsewhere? Is it time for him to get traded? My opinion, probably so. I'm sure he could benefit from a fresh start, fresh situation, and this Philadelphia team, even with him, doesn't seem like they're serious as a championship contender. So what are we really doing at this point, especially now that you've given him a $170 million extension for the next 3 years? So Philly, I'm not really seeing it for them. I even said on this podcast earlier this season that out of all the teams that were being talked about as contenders in the East, if there was one team that I would predict to fall back into that group of play-in teams, probably would be Philly, and right now it's looking like that's going to be their only hope at being able to make the postseason. So that does it for a team in trouble in the NBA. Team in trouble in the NFL. Let's bring you to the stage, New York Jets. Let's talk to you. So New York Jets have now fired GM Joe Douglas after their 3-8 start. All kind of crazy reports coming out of New York right now. You got players that are just ready for the season to be over, reportedly. You got the owner who apparently wanted to bench Aaron Rodgers after the Broncos game in week 4. All of this right now is just a result of the Jets going all in on Aaron Rodgers and coming up basically crapping out at this point. You know, they went to the crap table and they crapped out. And right now, I don't know what the light at the end of the tunnel is supposed to be for them. We don't know if Aaron Rodgers is coming back next year, and if he does come back, he's under contract with the Jets, so they can't really get rid of him. They went all in on this team, and they aren't getting any results. The defense is not as good as it was, a year or two ago. The offense has looked terrible because they're still employing Nate Hackett, even though he might not be the guy calling plays any longer. Just overall, not the vibes that you want for this Jets team. And I think, we're starting to see, sports karma plays out well. We did not like that Mike Williams got called out by Aaron Rodgers for, I guess the blown route that he ran on Monday Night Football that led to their loss right before acquiring Devontae Adams. And since then, the offense has still looked just as terrible. Why? Because Aaron Rodgers is not as good as a quarterback as he used to be. Simple and plain fact of it all right now. So, Jets stink. They're a team in turmoil. We'll see what kind of dumpster fire they continue to turn into the rest of the way. But let's look ahead really quickly to Week 12 before we go. Week 12, we got some interesting games here on the docket. We also got like 6 teams on bye week, so a little bit of a shorter slate than what we typically have, but all in all, should still be a fun one to watch. Thursday Night Football, you got Steelers versus Browns. Browns, man, I think this is also a season from hell for them. Obviously, the whole Deshaun Watson situation. They got back Nick Chubb. He hasn't really been able to get it going just yet, coming off of that pretty extreme knee injury that he had last year. So, Browns team just not really getting it done. Steelers coming off of a hell of a win on Sunday against the Ravens. I think they keep this thing rolling. I think the Steelers win this one. It'll still be ugly. It'll still be close because it's the AFC North. It's kind of the default way that they play football. But I think the Steelers win that one. Browns team, they're going to probably try to put up a fight in the divisional game. But I think all in all, Steelers win that game. And they win it, I'd say 6 to 7 points. It won't be anything crazy blowout, but they'll win that one comfortably enough. Now, Sunday, you got 2 pretty big games, one divisional matchup that we're looking at. 49ers going to Green Bay. We see, Kyle Shanahan versus Matt LaFleur. We've seen it plenty of times. Kyle Shanahan has continued to own his former coaching mates' number here in their head-to-head matchups. I don't necessarily think that changes on Sunday. I think the 49ers can absolutely, especially now, having Debo back, having Christian McCaffrey. We'll see what happens with George Kittle. But that offense is starting to get healthy again. I do think you see the 49ers go in and win a close one in Green Bay. They need it for the division, and we'll talk about that here in a second, how that ties into the division. But lost last week in a comeback loss for the Seahawks. comeback win for the Seahawks. The 49ers lost that game. 49ers absolutely need this one if they want to keep their division hopes alive. Now, division matchup that we were speaking of here, Cardinals versus Seahawks in Seattle. Cardinals definitely, have played well above what we thought they were going to be this year, but I do think the Seattle team can win this game at home. I'm going to pick them to win this game at home against the Cardinals. I'm also rooting for chaos, right? Cardinals lose, you get the 49ers and Seahawks both to win. You got a three-way tie for the NFC West. Not to mention Rams and Eagles here. We'll get to Sunday Night Football. Rams win that game. Of course, they can also join that tie for the NFC West first place. So, Seahawks, I think they are also starting to get a little bit healthier. You saw DK Metcalf return from his knee injury last week, put up some decent numbers. I think the Seahawks team can absolutely win that game at home against Arizona. Now, they do have the rest disadvantage with Arizona coming off of a bye week, but I'm still taking the Seahawks in that one again. I'm rooting for chaos. Why not, right? So, mentioned Sunday Night Football being Eagles versus Rams. Again, rooting for chaos. I'm taking the Rams in that one. Obviously, this is a game that either of these teams can win. I just think the Rams need it more than the Eagles do. Eagles are still in control in the NFC East right now, especially after their win last week on Thursday Night Football against the Commanders. Rams, again, trying to stay in the thick of it with the rest of those teams in the NFC West. Give me the Rams in a very, very close game, what should be an exciting Sunday Night Football game. And then Monday Night Football, we got the Harbaugh Bowl, ladies and gentlemen. We got John Harbaugh and the Baltimore Ravens going up against Jim Harbaugh and the Chargers. I think the Ravens win this one. They lost, again, a tough game on Sunday against the Steelers. Absolutely think they want to do everything they can to rebound against this Chargers team. It's also a Ravens team that is very aware of what this Chargers offense wants to do, given that Greg Roman was just their offensive coordinator a couple years ago. So give me the Ravens in that Monday Night Football game. Now, before we go, couple bets, of course. If you bet with us last week, we did not hit our NBA bet, but we did get our NFL money line parlay to clinch. NFC North came through for us. Lions, Vikings, Packers. Packers beat the Bears in a close one. Bears almost got that one. We actually going to run it back on the NFL this week. Vikings against the Bears in Chicago. We're taking that one. I think Brian Flores' defense against a rookie quarterback. I'm taking that all day long, even in a road game. Lions are going on the road to Indianapolis to play the Colts. Lions, best team in the NFL, best offense in the NFL. We're not even going to take a second look at it. And then Packers, of course, if we want to bet the opposite end of that 49ers matchup, Packers at home in that one, again, taking those NFC North teams again. Vikings, Lions, Packers on the money line parlay, plus 230 on FanDuel right now. And then our bet for tonight for the NBA, going same game parlay, Bulls and Bucks. Going Bulls plus 8. This is a team that has been kind of in the thick of all these games, even though they're not a great team. Very entertaining to watch. A good league pass team to watch. We're taking them plus 8 against the Bucks. Bucks don't play any defense. Old and slow at this point. Giannis is really the only lockdown defender that they have. Taking Bulls plus 8. We're taking Zach LaVine to score 20 or more points. We're taking Giannis Antetokounmpo to score 25 or more points. That three-leg parlay gets you plus 225 odds on FanDuel. So, Bulls plus 8, LaVine 20 or more points, Giannis 25 or more points, plus 225. That'll do it, ladies and gentlemen, for our bets. It'll do it for the show today. Let's try to make some money on our wagers. And then, of course, I'm going to continue to cover everything NFL and NBA-wise here over the coming weeks. Also, shout out to the Dallas Wings for securing the number 1 pick in the WNBA draft lottery here on Sunday. All signs pointing to them picking Paige Buckers, but of course we'll see how the college basketball season plays out. But definitely excited to see the women get back on the court here soon. Paige Buckers, Juju Watkins, the list goes on, but those two at the very top of the list right now as far as stars that we want to see. So, till next time, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching today's show. This has been The Price Check. I am your host, Josh Price. Check it out.